My son came out. My wife didn't take it positively.
Wife, what are we doing?
Basically, here's how things happened. Wednesday, when I came home from work, my son said he had something to tell me. He obviously fidgeted about something, and after a bit of rambling, he eventually told me he was attracted to the same gender. To be honest, I already knew. He's a good kid and pretty dang smart, but I'm a programmer and therefore the computer guy. I'm the one that everyone calls to fix their computers and laptops. So, without drawing a picture, I already knew he was attracted to the same gender. By the way, this comes from a fake throwaway account. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, when he finally came out to me, I was actually kind of relieved. He and I have always had a good relationship, but he never told me. And I was kind of wondering if maybe we didn't have such a good relationship. In any case, I did the dad thing of telling him that I really loved him. And all I really wanted from him was for him to be safe and happy. He was just really relieved, I guess. Anyway, he asked me to be there when he told his mother. Now I think about this, is probably why he came to me first. Now, she's a deeply religious woman. She wasn't always, but somewhere along the line, she turned from being somewhat religious to being deeply, deeply devoted. And if I'm being honest, I couldn't really pin down when or how that happened. I'm not religious in the slightest, although I do the occasional church going and church related functions to make her happy. Anyway, when she got home, I waited for my son to take the lead on when to tell her. It's when he told her that all things went to heck. I don't think she really believed it at first. Probably thought it was some kind of joke or something. But when she realized it wasn't, first started crying and then went into what I can only call a rage. He tried to calm her down, and I tried to help to get her not to see this as the end of the world. But she kept going on about how this wasn't the plan for him and about grandkids and a bunch of other things. But she kept working herself into some kind of frenzy. Eventually, he went to his room and started dumping his clothes and telling him to get out of the house. My son is bawling at this point, and I completely flipped out. I ordered him to go to his bedroom and stay there and just unleashed on her. I pretty much say what kind of mother she is and that I'll be 3 weeks dead and buried before I let him leave. She gets angry at me for not backing her up on this and that being attracted to the same gender is wrong and a bunch of other BS. Anyway, after a heck of a heated fight, she leaves to go stay with her parents. I try talking to my son. He's devastated and blaming himself for everything, and I'm not sure what to do here. I let my son skip school the last couple of days as kind of a mental health day, although I let him know that he will go back on Monday. I haven't spoken to my wife since that night, and now I'm not even sure what I could or say to her, and I'm not sure how to handle my son either. He's not his usual self, and I don't know how to get him to stop blaming himself. He says he wants to spend the night at a friend's house, which is fine. I figure his friend can offer some kinds of support than I can, but I'm at a complete loss. I think I did my best, although writing this, I realized that since I knew he was attracted to the same gender for a while, I should try to slowly ease her into the idea to make it less explosive, or maybe if I stayed calm earlier, I could have handled it a little less emotionally. I just don't know where to go from here or how to handle any of this. Well, in the heat of the moment,
That's
man.
what I'm saying. Emotions, but
Yeah.
like if you knew, you could have been like subtle hints there to like, or like you could have talked to your son first rather than him coming out to both of you or something along those. I don't know. I feel like you got to, before you dive right into something like this, even though you may know somebody, you got to like dip your toes. Like, how is it hot? Is it cold?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like you can't just like eat first because you never know what's gonna happen. Which in this turnout,
Yeah.
was the worst case possible.
And like another thing I gotta think to my head is like, okay, what if, this was if the son was a daughter and the daughter was pregnant, but the father was absent? How would she handle this? What would happen if like, all these different scenarios, would she still act the same way? And then my second biggest thing, low key, you can't figure out a solution to this soon, call it a wraps, and make sure with all your might that the kid does not take any blame for this.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's not on the kid, it's on the parents. I'm a big supporter of you got to be on the same page with about everything.
Yeah.
And they made that mistake and now they're putting that on the kid. Now the kid has to like live through that, like burden that. Number one, I'm very surprised. Only one comment so far mentions P Flag. One of the primary reasons this organization exists is to assist and guide and mentor parents attracted to the same gender kids who are just coming out. There are many chapters across the US and Canada. One probably not that far away from where you live. They have one once a month meetings. Usually it's about a group of 25 parents of kids. Many of the parents are veterans whose child came out many years ago and have lots of experience and wisdom to share. A handful of newbies, parents whose kids just recently came out. Your wife needs to attend some meetings with you, and she can talk about all of her emotions, fears, dreams, etc. with all the other parents who have been through the same thing. I went with my mom a few times after I came out, and the meetings were wonderful. The group was very welcoming, and it proved to be a very cathartic experience. Your wife needs to talk about these things, and not just with you, because you don't have the experience to guide her. The other parents do. We have an update. Some people have sent me various websites that I should look into, and I'm slowly making my way through. As for my son, we haven't spoke since he left last night. As for my wife, I think I'm going to be waiting on her to make some kind of overture to speak at least through the weekend. Give her some time and space to get herself together. If I don't hear from her by Monday, I guess I'll call her and try to figure out where to go from here. I did post this on a subreddit to get some more feedback from other people after someone here recommended that. Second update. I wish I had some kind of big update, but nothing really. I didn't sleep much this week, and I passed out shortly after posting the original message. I did talk to my son after I woke up. He got home sometime earlier today. He seems to be holding up okay, but you guys did put the fear of him doing something rash in my mind. I'm going to talk to him again, see what I can do about finding some kind of family therapist to help. As for my wife, I decided to give her some time and space, at least until Monday. If I haven't heard from her by then, I'll try to contact her, and depending on what she says will determine where we go. I do want to make it clear that I don't think it'll come to divorce or anything like that, but if the worst were to happen or to come, I will choose my son. If it's a choice between him and anything else, he wins. He always wins. Someone asked about our location, which Louisiana is near New Orleans, and her faith, which is Southern Baptist. There also seems to be some focus about the timeline regarding when my son went to his friend's house. He went last night, Friday. Everything else happened on Wednesday. He does sleep over at his friend's occasionally, or his friend here. They usually spend way too much time watching movies or playing something on the PC or PS4. Also, he is 16, I'm 39, and his mother's 37. Again, I want to thank you all so much for your support. I promise I'm reading all your replies and will take advice to heart. Just thanks for everything. Comments. Comment number 1 says, you are a wonderful father. Just keep being there for your son like you already are. One really specific piece of advice is to text him the supportive stuff you've already been saying to him, maybe a little after he leaves for his friend's house tonight. Feels really good to be able to go back and look at that stuff in writing. I don't know if you feel paralyzed when trying to put your feelings into writings like that, but you could start with, I've been thinking about blah, 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 blah. And then something you haven't said to him yet, like how brave it was for you to come out to your mom, knowing that she might react hurtful. Or something like, then just, I want you to know I'm so proud of you. I love you. I'll always be there for you, etc. I know that's a crazy specific suggestion, but he will probably read that text over and over in a way that he can't do with the things you say to him in person. It also might help him to get him into therapy or support group. But really, you're already doing the most important things, being a really loving, supportive presence in his life, shielding him from his mom's toxicity as best you can, ensuring him it's not his fault. He's really lucky to have you. OP replies, I'll be honest, I read this and I wasn't sure if I should or not. I just feel like maybe he went to his friend's place to get his mind off things or something, but between your message and a personal message I received earlier, I decided to send him a text saying something very similar to what you said, telling him that I loved him and that what he did was one of the bravest things I've ever seen, and I couldn't be prouder of him. I'm not sure if it will mean a lot to him or just get an eye roll, but figure better to have it than not to say it. We have a third update. I guess I'll start with my son. You all really put the fear of him hurting himself into my head. So I ended up having what I can only describe as the most miserable conversation of my entire life. I talked to him about how much I love him, how I'll always be there for him, and that he's the most important thing to me in the world. I don't know what I would do if he were gone. We had one more heart-to-heart that same night. I was in the living room trying to find something to watch on Netflix when he approached me. He sat there for a while, then apologized for making me worry and for starting everything that's happened. Dude, you're fine. Shut that down as hard as I could. I told him he had nothing to apologize for. This was none of his fault. He was only doing what I told him to do. Be honest with me. And that's exactly what he did. And I'm proud of him. I know I probably sound like a broken record, but I really need to hammer that home. I brought up family counseling. Honestly, I was expecting pushback, that he'd think I was trying to fix him or something. But he seemed okay with it. The rest of the night was really nice. Just watching TV together and talking about nothing. The rest of the week, I tried to keep things as normal as possible. I wanted to give him a sense of normalcy other than spending more time in the living room with me instead of in his bedroom. Things are okay. I guess he's still not himself, but he's more himself than he was last week. I'm not sure if he's staying close because he wants to be sure I'm around to reassure me, or if he just wants access to the bigger TV. A few of you mentioned that I should remind him our house is his house too, so I told him to invite his friends over this weekend, which they are. I dropped them all off at the movies. They're going to watch something, grab food, and then call me to pick them up. I'm just trying to help him get back to normal. As for my wife, things didn't go well. I called her late Monday after my son went to bed. I'll admit that while I love her, I was also very upset with her. I was trying to give her some time and space to process, but I wasn't happy that I had to be the one reaching out first. Still, I tried to put that aside and wanted to know where her headspace was. I had a mental list of things we needed if we were going to get past this. First, family counseling, and I had to choose a counselor. Second, she had to find some way to get past the thing. Therapy, prayer, whatever, but it needed to be dealt with. Third, she had to find a way to make it up to him. I felt this was reasonable. Everything else would be up for discussion, but I was going to die on those hills. When we talked Monday, she agreed we needed counseling, but felt we should go to the one sponsored by the church. I told her that was off the table. I wanted a counselor who could be neutral and I could trust when left alone with him. We circled this point till nearly 3 a.m. Tuesday was the same discussion till very late. Wednesday too. Wednesday night, I told her we needed to do this in person and finally get somewhere. Thursday morning, I told my son I'd be coming home very late, left him some money to order pizza, and said that he and his friends could start their weekend shenanigans a day early. After work, I went to her folks' place and we tried again. We got nowhere. I just refused to go to someone I couldn't trust. Sometime later, I don't know exactly when, I just let go. I gave up. I broke. I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't kept circling that wagon. I know you shouldn't make life-altering decisions when you've only had maybe 8 or 9 hours of sleep spread throughout a week, none in intervals greater than 20 minutes. But I was done. I was really tired. Really wanted to make it work. We'd been together since college, and I still love her, but I can't create a situation where my son could be hurt, especially now. I have to be there for him. Someone has to be. I was about to suggest separation for like a month. They're about to get to that. But at this point, separation for sure. Well, I said, probably best we stay apart. That I bring her the rest of her things over the weekend. And I left. Went to a big grocery store, grabbed some boxes, cried for about a half hour in my car, and went home. I got home at some unruly hour to find a couple of my son's friends asleep on my couch. When I told him to invite his friends, I meant for the day. He thought I meant overnight. I usually don't like having other people's kids in my house on a school night, but whatever. I blame myself for not being clear and to make a mental note to gently remind him later. Couldn't sleep. Literally too tired to sleep. I waited until my kids' usual school time, woke them all up, made breakfast, sent them off to school, emailed my boss to take a sick day, and finally fell asleep for about 10 hours. Which brings me to now, having just driven my kids and his friends by the movies. And if you're driving right now, stop the freaking car, pull off to the side, go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime. Have one of your kids search up OK Storytime on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Press play on the next story while you're driving. I'm going to finish the story here. I've decided I'm never going to tell my son about some of the things she said during our talks. I don't want him to feel worse. And I actually want them to have some kind of relationship in the future. No need to poison that well. For now, I'm going to do something to get my mind off things. Maybe play a game, watch TV, browse Reddit until I need to pick them up. I want to thank everyone again for all your messages. I've read and reread every one of them half a dozen times. It was nice to see so many good people. A lot of your stories were really heartbreaking. I'm sorry they had to go through that. I wish you had someone in your corner. Everyone deserves something in their corner. As one internet stranger to another, you all are really strong people. In the comments, I really don't want to be the one since you love her and all, but your wife seems like a total snatch. And to be honest, you're never going to get anywhere with the viper of a woman, which she has appeared to be throughout the story. I honestly recommend divorce. Religion clouds all rationality, and she's gonna go further in. I know it sucks, but it really comes down to who you care about more, which obviously in and of itself is an impossible decision to make. So I'm sorry. Congratulations for being so steadfast and brave and supporting your son through this time. You do what many parents wouldn't. Thank you for setting such a wonderful example. And Opie says, actually, it's where it's going. I didn't put in the update yet, but yeah, I'm probably going to contact a divorce attorney on Monday. I haven't figured out how to tell my son yet, but that's a tomorrow problem. I just don't want to think about it tonight. Tough, but I think it's going to be better for both you and your wife.
My wife was falling for another man, so I moved us across the country?
Best solution you could have done.
I've learned a lot in the last couple of years. My wife and I have been married a long time. Married at 19 years old, still married and in love at 51 years old. Congrats.
Aww.
We raised 3 great kids to adulthood in that time. Great life together. Sometimes, however, I think someone can meet another person they just click with in an unbelievable way. I think this happened to my wife. By the way, this comes from user Just Another Husband 77. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. We had moved 1,000 miles away from our hometown for my work. We got a job at a hospital in the new town and hated the job. For the first years there, she absolutely hated going to work every day. She cried regularly. I was there for her in any way she needed. I helped her with her resume because she wanted to find something else. I gave her a shoulder to cry on. I listened and sympathized when she vented. I love her with all my heart and will always be there for her. After about 3 years, they hired a new guy at her work. He did the same kind of work she did, but for another department in the hospital. He's a really nice guy. I've met him multiple times. Anyway, he was closer to all the BS they had to put up with at their job. He understood better than I could. He spent more time with her than I could. If you're employed full time, you spend more time with your job/coworkers than you do with your family. That's a fact. He was instrumental in helping her turn the job around. He understand exactly what they were going through better than I ever could. Misery loves company, and now my wife had company. They started working as a team, and the job got better for the both of them. I could see them growing closer professionally, but then it transcended work, and they started growing closer as friends outside of work. And we all know where that can lead. I started to become really concerned about this, but never wanted to look like an insecure, jealous husband, so I just let it go. They texted regularly and hung out together at work all day long. They were the only two people in their office. They shared an office. So they chit-chatted all day long. I could see the relationship growing every day right in front of my eyes. My wife and I are as close as any two human beings can be, but I saw that this relationship at work was starting to impact our me and you against the world closeness. There was a third person entering into my marriage, even though it was currently still at a very early innocent stage. I started to bring up that I was concerned about it and that I didn't like how she was acting around another man. That would get shut down on me. Don't be silly. We're just friends and coworkers. He has a fiance, or he's the one person that has made this job bearable. And you want me to ignore him? It was just a crappy situation all the way around. I really didn't know what to do. My own field is very specialized and lucrative. As luck would have it, or God stepped in, or karma, or fate, or the universe, whatever is in your bag, I get a call from a headhunter. A place in our hometown was looking for a new C-level executive to run an entire division. Huge job, huge salary in our hometown. I really loved what I was doing in my current job, and now my wife loved her job and her coworker, and we loved the new town. Usually that would lead me to say thanks, but no thanks to the headhunter. This time, however, I saw it as an opportunity to make a positive impact on our marriage.
Oh, babe, I got a better job with better paying in our hometown where we'll be closer to family and also be gone of this job you don't like.
Yeah, you hate this job, and like we're gonna be together again. Isn't that great? My wife couldn't argue the opportunity. It was huge and almost doubled my salary. We have family and friends back in our hometown. I could tell she was absolutely heartbroken over the potential of losing this new best friend that I know in my heart they were both developing real feelings for each other. I know in my heart that my wife loved this man. I know that she still loved me, and I don't think she would have ever cheated on me or left me for this guy, but I know I was slowly losing her to him. She didn't act on anything, but there was something growing between them. I can tell when we all got together that his fiance hated my wife, even though they had never met before, so that told me that she could sense a threat to her relationship too, and didn't like it one bit. So I applied, interviewed, got offered, and I accepted this job. In my heart, I'd say only 10% of it was because of the opportunity, and 90% of it was to get my wife away from her job and that person. We moved. She hated leaving that job and her buddy. I could
Aw.
tell she was sad and depressed over the loss of this other man in her life.
Oh my gosh. But you can't do anything because it's been 20 years of marriage. Happy marriage with 3 kids that are adults now.
You're like, hey, honey, you forgot. I'm your husband. I knew in my heart they were having a full-on emotional affair, even if both of them were not aware of it. A lot of times, that is how these things start. One or both parties aren't even consciously aware of what's happening until it's too late and they've ruined some lives. I know this might not be an ideal way to handle such a situation, but it worked. My wife found a new job back home. We're back in our old social circle of friends and family. For a few months, they would message on Facebook occasionally. Nothing bad. She'd always show me, but they were maintaining their connection. But that stopped months ago. Out of sight, out of mind. They don't communicate at all anymore. He has since married his fiance, and my wife and I are very happy back home again. I could literally feel the change, and one day, while we were sitting on the couch watching Fixer Upper, her head was on my shoulder. She looked up and said, "I love you so much. I know for a while in city we used to live in, I wasn't being the best partner, but I was so miserable in my job, and part of me blamed you for moving me there." The other coworker was really like a wartime buddy where you share the same horrible experience with, so you start bonding with them but in retrospect, I think it was wrong, and I shouldn't have done that. I'm so sorry if I hurt your feelings. I'll never do anything like that again. You're the love of my life.
What do you say in that moment? You know what's happening, and you secretly, your intentions were secret of why you moved because you're like, new job. But in reality, it was get away from that man. What do you say? Are you happy? Are you sad? Also, she had to have worked in ER or something like that.
Something really intense where it's like,
Wartime buddy? I mean, I'm not going to call you guys wartime buddies.
he was crying.
Maybe on a Thursday night, but other than that,
All's well that ends well. I love my wife with all my heart. She loves me. We'll be together until one of us passes away of old age. There's a good chance I would have taken this job anyway because it's such a good opportunity. But at that time, that's not why I took it. I took it because I had a threat to my marriage, the thing that is most important to me in my life. And I saw an opportunity to remove the threat from the equation. I took that opportunity and won't ever apologize for why I did it. We have an update.
good on this marriage. This is what's called beating around the bush. Everyone here beat around the bush until the wife said something finally, which is weird. I don't like this. I don't feel like this is how adults should talk to one another. Like a nice couples counseling could have solved it. But then again,
Well,
you would have stayed there. Oh, dude, who knows what would have happened?
She had repressed like hate per se, not like hate, but like all the like you made me move here and I was sad for 3 years. You enjoyed your job. I hated my job. What was the fault here? OP. So it was just like, I don't know. This definitely couldn't have gotten way worse, but I definitely think some couples counseling would be good. Just to be like, just to let that air out. I mean, it's already there, but like just healthier and like more of a communication thing.
I agree.
But we have an update. My wife and I are reading through this thread together. We do everything together. We're a team. She wanted me to add for anyone that might be in her shoes that sometimes you really don't see things like this coming, but if you're not vigilant, you may end up ruining the best part of your life. She is as happy as I am how everything turned out. We're not really religious people, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that this situation didn't make me question if there isn't someone out there watching out for us to be aware when God, the universe, whatever presents itself a solution to a problem. Don't ignore it. I do know that I was extremely lucky that this opportunity came along. I really didn't know what to do. I felt so helpless. That doesn't happen for a lot of people, and my heart breaks for them. I'll never stop being thankful of how lucky I was. There were a lot of assumptions made in this thread about me, about my wife, and about our whole lives together. Some good, some bad, some downright nasty. And that is the internet. I understand that you're only getting a tiny slice of our lives. I assure you, we're happily married 32 years now, and we'll be married till death do us part. Hopefully, even beyond that. Would either of us do whatever is necessary to protect our marriage from any and all negative influences in this world? You betcha. And you bet that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. We are at the funny number now.
Oh, nice. I thought we'd never make it.
No, we are at 69 days, Riley.
Dude,
we are at the funny number, and we're only going to be at that funny number for a little bit, so we got to
enjoy it while you can.
Yeah,
go watch them, guys. Go watch the 69 days worth of content right now.
Yeah, it seems like everything's healthy. I don't think there's nothing more for us to add other than like...
I don't know, man. I don't really like how they approached it. He kind of touched the surface. She blew him off. Seemed like an extreme solution. This is the most extreme solution you could do. Actually, there's one above it, but we're not going to talk about that because this is not the type of podcast we're on. But extreme in our scenario, I don't like it. I also don't like that this might happen again because it seems like it is not really addressed.
Yeah, the problem wasn't, nothing fixed the problem, really. It was just we ran away from the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, again, that's why I said couples therapy, counseling, just to air it more out and like communication style. Yeah, because it's the terrible game of what if?
Yeah.
What if I didn't get this job opportunity? What if we stayed longer there? You know, but we're not playing that game, thankfully. It's a terrible game.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and finish the story. My wife tells me this story more than I do. She has told it to our adult children as a cautionary tale. She has said if the situation was reversed, she'd do the exact same thing. I wouldn't be angry if she did. I've had several close female friends over the decades we've been married. When my wife picks up a vibe that one of these women may have desired more than friendship, she voices her concern. A couple times that was met with, "Don't be silly, we're just friends." In retrospect, my wife was not being silly. Those friendships could have been a threat to the marriage, but we'll never know because we nipped them in the bud and put our marriage first. And that is the end of that story. Yeah, I mean, everything worked out. Again, we already said it. I think a little bit of therapy will go a long way for you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
I know you guys have been together for so long, but what's to say to add a little bit more clarity and strengthening that bond?
Yeah, I agree.
Even though your bond sounds incredibly strong, it doesn't hurt to add more strength to it.
Do a little bit more repair work. I mean, we're only seeing the text version of it, not actually. We don't even know what these people look like.
Yeah,